We've all seen it 100 times. The classic Western gunfight. Two men, dust swirling around their boots. The sun beats down on a silent street. They stare each other down, a hand hovering over the butt of a revolver. A tense moment, a flash of steel, and it's all over in a heartbeat. It's dramatic. It's honorable. It's the stuff of legends. But what if I told you the real danger in the American West wasn't found on a sun-drenched street at high noon? What if the most brutal, chaotic, and deadly encounters happened in the dim, smoky confines of a saloon? A place where chaos had no rules and only survival mattered. This is the story of Jack "Whiskey" Callahan, and how he learned that a gunfight was a dance, but a saloon brawl was a free-for-all. The year is 1876. The place is Deadwood, a town built on mud, gold, and a complete disregard for the law. It's a place where a man can strike it rich or wind up in a shallow grave before the sun sets. And in the heart of this wild, untamed town stands the Golden Nugget Saloon. It's not the fanciest, but it's where the real action happens. And standing at the entrance, a mountain of a man with a quiet demeanor, is Jack Callahan. Jack isn't a gunslinger. He's never been known for his quick draw or his sharpshooting. He's known for his patience, his strength, and his ability to see a fight coming before it even starts. He's a bouncer, a protector of the fragile peace inside these walls. He's seen men shoot each other over a bad hand of poker. He's seen lawmen and outlaws face off over a bounty. But those gunfights, as brutal as they were, always had a certain code, a certain kind of honor, a standoff. The brawls? They were different. A man spills a drink. Someone bumps a shoulder. A wrong word is said. And in a flash the room explodes. Fists fly. Chairs splinter. Whiskey bottles become weapons. There's no honor, no code. Just pure, unfiltered chaos. And Jack, night after night, has to navigate this storm. He's learned more about true danger from a stray bottle than from a loaded gun. And tonight, a new threat is about to walk through that door, one who doesn't use a gun, and one who will test everything Jack believes about survival. Jack had seen countless fights, but the one that night was different. It started over a misplaced Stetson hat, and within seconds the room erupted into a whirlwind of violence. A man's head was slammed against the bar, a bottle shattered against a mirror, and a chair was launched across the room, barely missing Jack. He moved with a practiced grace, a dancer in a field of chaos. He wasn't swinging, he was controlling, de-escalating, and above all, surviving. He didn't throw a single unnecessary punch. He was a force of nature, a calm in the eye of the storm. He grabbed one man by the collar and another by the belt, separating them with a single fluid motion. He pushed them out the door, then turned back to face the remaining brawl. His eyes scanned the room, looking for the next point of chaos. He saw it when a gambler pulled a knife. Jack didn't even hesitate. He used a thrown chair as a shield, deflecting the blade, and then disarmed the man with a swift, calculated twist of the wrist. The fight was over as quickly as it had begun, and the Golden Nugget Saloon was left in ruins. Jack stood there, chest heaving, a smear of blood on his cheek. He had survived. But he knew it was only a matter of time before the next storm rolled in. That storm arrived 3 days later in the form of Silas, the Hammer, Thornton. Silas walked into the Golden Nugget with the confident swagger of a man who knew he was the biggest dog in the yard. He wasn't big on talk. He didn't carry a gun, didn't even have a holster. His reputation preceded him, a brawler who had left a trail of broken jaws and cracked ribs from Fort Laramie to Tucson. His fists were his law, and the saloons were his courtroom. The entire room went quiet. Jack felt the shift in the air, a primal tension. Silas, his voice a low growl.
"You must be the bouncer. The fellow who thinks he can keep the peace."
Jack, his voice even and calm.
"I'm the fellow who keeps the peace. If there's trouble, you can take it outside."
Silas, a cruel smile spreading across his face.
"Trouble? No, friend. I am the trouble. And I prefer to make my mess inside."
Silas spent the next week tormenting the Golden Nugget. He'd purposely knock over drinks, overturn chairs, and provoke the customers, but never enough to start a full-blown brawl. He was testing Jack, a predator toying with his prey. Jack, ever the calm professional, would clean up Silas's messes and try to defuse every situation. But he could feel the pressure mounting. It wasn't about a fight, it was about respect, about dominance. Silas wanted to break him. The tension finally snapped one rainy Tuesday night. The saloon was packed, the air thick with smoke and desperation. A young, frightened waitress named Lily was trying to serve a drink to Silas. He intentionally pulled the tray out from under her, sending glasses and liquid crashing to the floor. Silas laughing.
Clumsy little thing, aren't ya? Maybe you need to learn a lesson.
He reached for her, a cruel glint in his eye. Jack stepping forward, his voice a steel-edged whisper.
Leave her be, Silas.
Silas turning to face Jack, his smile gone.
Ah, the protector arrives. You gonna protect her from me, Callahan? Or are you gonna stand there and watch?
Jack knew this was it. This was no longer about a spilled drink or a broken chair. This was about a man, his honor, and the safety of those he protected. This wasn't a duel with rules. This was a brawl, a fight for survival, the very essence of the West. Jack looked around the room, seeing the terrified faces of the patrons, and he knew he had to do it.
You want to fight, Silas? You got one.
The room went silent. The music stopped. The game of poker paused. The moment stretched, full of a terrifying anticipation. Then Silas lunged. He was a force of pure, unadulterated power, a human battering ram. He swung with the full weight of his body behind every punch. Jack, however, was not a brute. He was a tactician. He dodged, weaved, and parried, using the cramped space to his advantage. He grabbed a chair, not to swing but to block, forcing Silas to stumble. He used the bar as a pivot, circling his opponent, looking for an opening. This wasn't a boxing match. It was a desperate, chaotic dance of survival. Silas was all offense, but Jack was all defense, a human shield absorbing the blows, waiting for the right moment. The fight moved from the floor to the bar, bottles and glasses exploding around them. The roar of the crowd was a deafening sound. Silas landed a brutal hook that sent Jack sprawling. He felt a sharp, blinding pain. For a moment he thought it was over. But then he saw it. The twist. Silas was so focused on brute force, on the kill, that he had forgotten the chaos around him. A lit lantern hung precariously from a beam directly above them. Jack knew this was his only chance. He had to think like the chaos, not fight against it. He scrambled to his feet, feigning a retreat, drawing Silas closer to the hanging lantern.
You're all brute force, Silas. You're so focused on the punch you can't see the world around you.
Silas, enraged by the taunt, charged forward, his fists raised. Jack ducked at the last second, not from a punch but from a calculated movement. He grabbed the back of a splintered bar stool and used it to sweep Silas's legs out from under him. Silas fell, his massive body crashing into the hanging lantern. The glass shattered and a spray of flaming oil rained down. Silas, panicked and disoriented, flailed. Jack, seeing his chance, didn't hesitate. He grabbed a nearby spittoon and swung it, not at Silas's head but at his knee. The metal struck true, and Silas collapsed with a guttural roar of pain. The fight was over. Jack stood over him, bruised and bleeding but victorious. He had beaten the hammer, not with a gun, but with the very chaos Silas had embraced. The roar of the crowd turned into a stunned silence. Silas lay on the floor, groaning in defeat, the fire from the shattered lantern flickering around him. He had come to Deadwood to prove his dominance, to show that he was the baddest man in the West without a gun. But he had been defeated by a simple bouncer, not with brute force, but with cunning and the very chaos he thought he commanded. Jack stood over him, bruised and bleeding, his chest heaving. He wasn't a hero. He was a survivor. Later that night, after the town doctor had patched him up, Jack returned to the saloon. The air was thick with the smell of smoke and stale whiskey. The tables were overturned, chairs were splintered, and the bar was soaked in spilled liquor. He picked up a shard of broken glass, looking at his distorted reflection. There was no glory in his eyes, only a deep, bone-weary exhaustion. He had faced down a legend, but he hadn't done it for fame or a reputation. He had done it to survive. He had done it because chaos, unlike a gunfight, doesn't care about honor or rules. It just cares about who's left standing. And that's the real story of the Wild West. Not the dusty duels or the noble lawmen. It's the story of the saloon bouncer who knew a gunfight was a dance, but a saloon brawl was a free-for-all. It's the tale of a world where brute strength often loses to street smarts and a sharp mind. It's the truth that in the lawless chaos of the frontier, it's not the fastest gun that wins, but the person who understands the rules of the chaos itself. If this story grabbed you, if it made you think differently about the Wild West, then hit that subscribe button. We've got a whole lot more stories just like this one, tales of survival, honor, and the truth behind the legends. And tell me in the comments below, what's a story from the past that you think Hollywood got wrong? Let's uncover the truth one tale at a time.